Hi, hello, I'm Sam Harrison. I read, review and discuss fantasy and science fiction books. Today we are reading, reviewing and discussing chapter 10 of volume 2 of The Wandering Inn. So if you have read this chapter, which you should have done if you're watching this video, unless you just love watching my channel, which in case, yeah, thanks. This is a Toren POV chapter, and as you guys may know, Toren is one of my favourite characters in The Wandering Inn, and I think he's probably if you're looking at like side characters and supporting characters, especially like the weirder ones, so like the ones that are like less human, I guess, like he's absolutely my favourite, and it's not even a challenge. Like, I like him more than all the Antinium, and I like him more than don't know about Ryoka, her supporting cast, if she's got any non-human ones. So yeah, we love Toren here. Toren's the best, and it's really, really interesting to get this view inside his head. So basically, at the end of the previous chapter, you find out that the Wandering Inn has blown up, and then it takes you to Toren, and you then spend the whole of this chapter reading about kind of Toren's day and while Aaron was in town, what he got up to and what he's been doing and his philosophy, I guess. It's quite an interesting point where he says that he only remembers his 3 things, which is the rules that he's been given to operate under. So like the 3 rules of robotics almost from Asimov. He's got, he has to serve Erin, he has to protect Erin, and it says he has to be used for suboptimal tasks, which he has memorized as one of his rules, which is quite funny. And I wonder if that is what's making him a little bit rubbish at his job. The next thing that he remembers is the voice that he's heard, which is probably the necromancer that we've been hearing about for all of volume 1, summoning him, as he has summoned, it seems, the rest of the undead from the ruins, who also took all the enchanted weapons and treasure from the ruins. So this necromancer has not just a big army, but they've also got a lot of magical gear. So definitely this threat is leveling up, sizing up, as it were. And he also remembers the song Somewhere Over the Rainbow, which is very cool. And it makes me think, because he remembers the the actual musical instruments, which he could not have heard, if he was from in-world, is he from our world? So was Toren from our world? Is the wave of people that Erin and Ryoka have come across with, are they the first? Or, I mean, here's an interesting theory, right? And I know that I say a lot that I'm not really one for theories when it comes to The Wandering Inn, because it's quite hard to predict. I don't feel like there are that many context clues that would have helped me figure out stuff. Like, I'm trying to think of something, but I actually can't. So I don't feel like there's that many context clues. I don't feel like there's really more than a couple of big mysteries anyway. But I know that you guys love theories and you love theory crafting and theorizing, but that isn't really how I read. I don't sit there and go like, oh, I wonder if this is this. I'm more reading and along for the ride with the author, because I feel like if you theory craft too much, then you get disappointed when your theory isn't true, doesn't pan out. So like one of my friends loves reading Brandon Sanderson's books, and his like favorite thing about those books is that there is so much information around, because Brandon Sanderson answers all these fan questions that you can really, really theory craft, and you go like, oh, I think this is going to happen, and this is going to happen, this is going to happen. But and like he enjoys that, but I think I would get annoyed if my theories didn't pan out, because I do actually, like, if I come up with something, I do get kind of attached to it. But anyway, so that's why I barely theory craft in these videos. However, I'm giving you a theory now, which is, are all the humans in InWorld from our world? Maybe they're descended, maybe they've been here for, their families have been here for thousands of years. I'm sure that I remember there being a line in the maps episode? No, the maps chapter, where Ryoka just talks about maps a lot, that humans originally came to the continent that they're on. So where did they come from? Did they come from InWorld? That would be something. Did they come from our world, not InWorld? That could be something. Like, that could be a big deal. There could be something going on there. So my theory, is that this is a very, came up with it on the fly, not attached to it theory. But I think that would be genuinely interesting if this world was full of fantasy races and all the humans have come from our world. And maybe that would even include people like, the necromancer is a person who came up from our world. And I definitely feel like there's going to be some correlation between this necromancer from that keeps getting brought up and Wistrom. I feel like they're going to have come from Wistrom in some way. And the necromancer, it's not like the necromancer war, like the uprising thing was like hundreds of years ago, like it would often be in other fantasy stuff. It was like 20 or 30 years ago. Could that necromancer be in some way tangentially related to Pisces? Could he be his mentor or a family member or something like that? So that's an interesting thread to go down. I really liked the more description that we go into with Toren. So we find out that he's powered by Erin's mana, which is quite interesting because we've been told that Erin has very, very little magical ability. She just has some inbuilt mana like all people do. But does Erin not need that mana? If it's being siphoned off to Toren, is she weaker than she could possibly be? The super speed leveling has always been the thing, so that can't be the reason that she's super leveling. But yeah, I wonder if there is a negative effect to having Toren around, and apart from blowing up the inn. So Toren talks about how he has tactician levels, which is fun. He talks about how he's level 11 now as a skeleton warrior, which also feels like he's leveling up quite quickly. So maybe Erin's mana has something to do with that. But yeah, he's leveling up really quickly.
Oh, hello. Sorry you catch me at my scenic windmill. I'm here to talk to you today about Your Paper Quest, which is an indie book subscription box that is kindly sponsoring this month of content on the channel. If you subscribe to Your Paper Quest, you will get 2 indie published books every single month. Those books will be picked by the Your Paper Quest team on a specific theme or genre like horror, fantasy and science fiction. And it's not just books in the box. You'll also get some bookish bits and fun stuff, and you'll have access to the Your Paper Quest book club, where you can talk to other subscribers about the books that you're reading and ask questions of the authors. There'll also be a monthly interview posted with the authors that you can watch, and you'll get on average 600 pages of content in every box. You can subscribe if you live in the US or the UK, and you can choose to have your books either monthly, bi-monthly or quarterly, whatever suits your reading pace. If you'd like to subscribe, you can also support the channel and get a discount by using the code SAM20 when you check out. That will give you 20% off your bookish box. And thanks so much to Your Paper Quest for sponsoring the channel.
So then, we've got Toren, and he's doing the jobs for Erin, and it's quite funny. He's builds the snow wall, and she's like, I didn't ask you to build a snow wall, build me a door. And then he builds the door, and then he's like, well, I don't know what to do next. I guess I'll just build more snow wall. So he makes the snow wall a foot higher and Eren doesn't even notice. He tries cutting down one of the blue fruit trees, but they are like hard as stone almost from the sounds of it. Like he doesn't even make more than a scratch, and he basically destroys a sword doing it, which is interesting. And then he finds some other trees, and those trees are the boom trees, which I don't think we've seen for a while, and I had kind of forgotten all about them, to be honest. But Toren cuts down a boom tree and takes it to the inn, and that's what blows up one wall of the inn. So the actual inn isn't blown up, we just got like a hole in the wall. It's quite interesting because Eren's like, oh, this is so annoying. Like, Eren starts crying because she's so upset, because I think she's like, feels like it's the end of the inn, like this is something she can't come back from, and she sends Toren away when, like, I feel like if I was in her position I'd be like, damn, this is so incredibly annoying, but Toren fixed the wall. So like, I feel like he's got more chance of being able to just like brute force fix the wall, like learn how to make a wall or whatever. I don't know how you make cement. Do you make cement with like mud and water? That's probably could do, right? Mud and water and sand or whatever. And then, you know, you've still got all the bricks are all still probably there, or you could maybe mine some new ones. I've seen some pictures of the Wandering Inn recently where it's like gigantic, and obviously that means that the inn gets upgraded over time, or maybe it just is gigantic and no one's ever made that clear. It feels like a small country pub in my mind. But then also, like, all of the Horns of Hammerad stayed there, and there were quite a lot of them, weren't there? There was like 6 or more. But I feel like we've only talked about there being like 3 rooms upstairs. So God knows, really. Yeah, so that's kind of the bulk of the story of this episode, and I did really enjoy the Somewhere Over the Rainbow bit where Toren's like got that in his head, which is what's stopping him from being overtaken by the necromancer. Also thought it was quite fun when he fell into the ruins and then he started using Skinner's giant ruby, put it behind his eyes to make the enemy skeleton thing afraid of him. And it's interesting because he's going like, well, Eren's told me to go away, but earlier today she told me to do something useful, so what I should do is something useful to avoid, you know, the other stuff that she's told me to do that I don't want to do. Go away. And so he's like, right, leveling up is useful, I'm going to try and level up. So it'd be very interesting to see, like, in a few chapters time, Toren comes back and he's like a level 20 warrior because he's just been fighting relentlessly in a dungeon. I wonder whether there's any sort of distance for Eren and Toren's mana, like if he gets far enough away, does he not work anymore? That would bum me out. I'm sure this isn't the last we've seen of Toren because it's left very open-ended and he seems like he's important. But I wonder if this is one of those times where a character just goes away for like a pretty long period of time. Like, if I could see us not seeing Toren again for like 10 chapters or whatever. We're currently like 20% through volume 2. So if we do get something like that, I could see not seeing Toren again until we're like halfway through the volume. Or maybe he'll return right at the end like Klibich did in volume 1. That would be interesting, and I would like to see. I want more Toren POV chapters because this one was genuinely really interesting. It was kind of a new style of writing, and it was a bit more characterful. When Pirate Abba is writing in Toren's head, they write very differently, I think, to when they write Eren and Ryoka. So yeah, I would like to see more of this, like more experimental and like more characterful writing. What else was I trying to think? So yeah, I think that's probably everything. I mean, this was a shorter chapter than the last few weeks, or at least it felt shorter because I read it really quickly. Maybe it's because I was having fun reading it. But and I sight read this one, I didn't listen to the audiobook, but it was just generally quite enjoyable, and I'm really looking forward to getting back into the series again, and hopefully more Toren chapters. So if you enjoyed this chapter and you've got something that you want to chat with me about below, if you want to give me, you know, every week I feel like I'm getting corrections from the community, so please do correct me if I've made a mistake. My memory isn't fantastic, especially for stuff I've read like months ago. So if it's an old chapter, I'll probably forget it, unfortunately. Also, please do like this video if you've liked it and you've enjoyed watching it. Please share it with your friends as well. If you've got friends who have read The Wandering Inn or are reading The Wandering Inn and you think they would enjoy this video, I would really appreciate it if you'd share it. This video series has kind of stagnated to the point where it's not really growing, and while I'm not one of those YouTubers who's looking for constant growth out of videos and stuff, it would be nice if it did grow a little bit. It'd be lovely to see this get regularly over 200 views, because it's been pretty regularly getting between 1 and 130, 40 views every single week. It'd be lovely to see it get 200 views a week. That would be really cool. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, now is the time, because now we've hit 1,000 subscribers. The channel is now monetized, so hopefully the adverts that YouTube has placed in this video haven't been too intrusive. I also am sponsored this month, so there is a sponsored slot in the middle of the video that I have tried to place somewhere that's not very obtrusive, and I hope that the ads are kind of at least funny for you guys. Also, because we've hit 1,000 subscribers, in October, my TBR will be completely decided by viewers. So if you are interested in getting me to read something that, you know, something that I wouldn't normally read, or something that you love that isn't on my radar, then keep an eye out. At the end of the month, there will be a submission video. So that video will come out, and I'll give you guys a method to submit a book or book series, and if you win, then I will read either the book if it's a standalone book, or if it is in a series, I'll read the next one that I haven't read. So if, for example, you voted for The Wheel of Time, then whatever book I was up to, I would read the next one. So hopefully that makes sense, and I would love to see some Wandering Inn fans dropping in some books for me to read. Maybe you could even recommend a web serial, and I might read, like, you know, a decent chunk of that web serial, like the first storyline or something like that. Let me know what you'd be into, and I would love to read some of your favourite stuff. Thanks so much for watching today, and I will speak to you tomorrow.